welcome. I'm excited. Welcome back to Uncomfortable Conversations, presented by Shall You Proceed podcast. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. I want to welcome two amazing guests with me today. Two men I respect highly. They both work my nerves dearly, but it's all in love. And I care about them so much. I'm so glad they're here with me today. I have Mr. B. Scott out of Dallas, Texas. He's a damn Cowboys fan. We're going to forgive him for that. He is a digital marketer, chef, and food blogger. He has his own IG page called Kitchen Under Siege, posting amazing foods. He's going to cook us some food one day and bring it down to Baytown, Texas. And I have the wonderful, amazing Mr. Frank Styles of the 336 Pull-Up podcast out of North Carolina. He's a voiceover actor as well, outspoken, great guy. A round of applause for my guest today. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on. I really appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good. So we're live on IG. No, we're live on Facebook, and we are live on YouTube. So today's episode, which is going to be part three of Uncomfortable Conversations, we're going to be discussing Black Fatherhood, protecting the Black woman, and Black Entrepreneurship, which has been on a major rise since current events. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. Before we get going, please tell people about you individually. I can't just talk about you myself. So go ahead, Frank. Tell everybody who you are once again.
Absolutely. Frank Styles. I am the creator of the 336 Pull-Up podcast. As Lee said, voiceover actor, and we podcast every week.
All right. Mr. Brandon.
I'm not as highly acclaimed as that gentleman that just spoke. I'm just a brother trying to change the world one plate at a time while
We all in it together, bro. We all in it together.
He set the bar so high. Well, now I got to come behind that. I don't even know what to say.
How funny.
Man, love to show my people digital marketing and how it can change their lives. That's why it's an honor to even be on the podcast with my sister there. And let's get it started. Let's rock and roll.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. So, with the current events going on in the world, we've been talking about that everywhere, a lot, and everyone has really been voicing their opinion and speaking up on it. And at the highlight of it, when it comes to the Black men who are under attack in this country, I look at the fact of most of these men were fathers, or the fathers that are affected by what's going on. They're losing their sons, they're losing their daughters because of many Black young women are missing, being attacked. And I wanted to speak to you two because you're fathers. One, how has everything impacted you? What's going on? And two, what are the conversations you're having with your sons about what's going on? And I'll answer those two things for me first. Brandon?
So the kind of questions and answers I have with my son currently, he's 6. And so, it's difficult to try to put adult type situations and current events on a 6-year-old, because for him, if it's not Pokemon, he ain't trying to hear that right now. He's just like, so can I go catch it? Like, he's more pissed off about Corona than the situations going on in the streets. But it comes up when we're, taking him to school, or when we're out in the public and he sees a police officer and he gets excited, and he's like, Daddy, there's the police. And I'm like, well, son, yeah, about that. They don't like you right now. And he was like, what do you mean? And then you have to kind of break it down to him. And he gets frustrated because he's like, well, I'm just Liam. He doesn't see himself, because he's grew up amongst a lot of diversified people. He just sees himself as Liam. And I have to tell him, well, you're Liam that is also Black. And it's hard to explain that to a 6-year-old. Once he gets a little older Now, I do teach him his history. We do talk about Black current events. He spoke to me a couple weeks ago and said, "Daddy, I want to be like Muhammad Ali, the best boxer of all time." So, we do teach him some things, but right now I want him to be 6. I want him just to be 6 and hold on to that, because when he's 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, I'm gonna want him to be 6 again.
Right.
And you said your first question was about what's happening to Black women in our.
No, I want to ask you about Black fatherhood. How has it changed right now for all of you? I mean, right now, the conversation in Black homes are different anyway compared to white or any other nationality. When it comes to us, when you talk to your children, the conversation is different.
Right.
But right now with COVID and everyone being at home, and you can't run away from the news. You can't change the channel. You can't tell the child nothing's going on.
Right.
What's the conversation like? And besides that, fatherhood for Black men have been under attack for a very long time. I think the respect is gone. How do you reclaim that? How do you change the mindset of what Black fathers are? Because it seems right now in the media, we're trying to push the narrative of we're great, you're good. You're seeing more commercial of Black men. It's like, why is it you have to push so hard to show what Black men have always been doing?
I think in general, that's just fathers. You can see how they market to you guys, right, or to us right around Father's Day. It's always a power tool or a tie or some Joseph A. Bank whack ass commercial. And we understand as fathers, we're nowhere near on the pedestal as mom. Okay, mom, she's out there, she's up there. A mama whooping your ass will hurt your feelings way deeper than your dad. You'll think about that to your dying breath. Like, man, I can remember my mama whooped my ass one time. We forget about dads, but when it comes to Black dads, we just got to keep promoting Black dads. We are the ones that have to do the promotions. We know they're not going to do it for us. We know it's not a really a marketable monetary thing. They can't really make money off of it like that. So we have to just keep pushing it out there, sharing fathers on your Instagram and reaching out to them and saying, hey, can I get a picture of you and your kiddo, and just promoting that and let people know, hey, I'm a Black dad that knows a whole bunch of Black dads. And guess what? We taking care of our kids, and we take care of them very well. Okay. This shoulder right here is worn out by sleep time on my shoulder and drool because of taking care of it. So they don't see it, and that's cool, but we have to show it. We have to quit trying to wait for them to do it for us. And when I say them, I'm talking about the marketing world at B, the people who come up with the commercials and the photo shoots and what you see on your Instagrams and your Facebooks. We need to market our people ourselves.
Okay, Mr. Frank.
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, there's always been a stigma for Black men that we are ones that do not take care of our kids. And when I used to see that all the time, my whole thing was like, wait a minute, I know plenty of Black fathers that take care of their kids, whether they're with the mother or not. They are taking care of their kids. They're handling their responsibilities and taking care of business. So, we know there's a whole lot of stigma that has been put behind us as Black people anyway, especially the Black man. So that is definitely one that's out there. I give you an example. It's funny, you're talking about how you talk to your kids about it. Well, my son, my oldest son is 15, but he's a football player. He's an athlete. He's 5'10". He's 15 years old. He's a big kid. And so when he's out with his friends, he's at that age now. Hey, daddy, I want to go hang out here. I want to go hang out there. I have to remind him, hey, listen, make sure you're here by a certain time. Where are you going? Who are you going to be with? Because we live in a suburban area. However, it's a mixture of Black and white, but that doesn't mean that the police won't be called on him. You know what I'm saying? So I have to talk to him about situations like that. Another quick story is my 9-year-old on Juneteenth. We're going to the store, getting ready to go to the store. He goes, Daddy, we can't, make sure we don't have the music too loud. And I said, huh? What do you mean? He said, well, make sure you don't have the music too loud because we don't want the police to pull us over. I said, are you afraid that maybe something might happen, if the police pulled us over? And he said, yes. I said, son, let me explain something to you. I said, number one, Daddy would never do anything to scare you or jeopardize you while you are with me with the police. I explained to him that all police are not bad, but there are some police that do not like us as Black people. And it's a shame. And that really touched me because that's the first time that I've heard that from him. He's even beginning to recognize the things that's going on in society, So I think that that's the thing. That's what some white people don't understand. They don't have to have these type of conversations the way that we do, because their kid can go out there. Kids get caught drinking. Kids get caught doing something they have no business doing. And the police will give them a break, pour the beer out, let them go. Yeah. We can't do that.
Not at all.
So do you think when it comes to the negative viewpoint for Black fatherhoods and for Black fathers, where do you think it started? Where do you think this came from?
I think it started, and again, when we're talking about systematic racism, all of that started right after the Civil War ended, right? And I talked about this on our last episode of the podcast on Blacked Out Part 2. When you go back and you look at the history, when we were finally so-called let free, right? There was no place for us to go. All our lives, we've been working on the plantation, working for master, right? So now we're free, but you won't give us jobs. So now that you won't give us jobs, we are sitting to the side. So we're loitering. We're trying to find out where we're going to go. Now, some of us packed up, those that were able, packed up and moved other places. But those of us that were left around, guess what you started doing? You started locking us up. When you started locking us up, you started having us work on chain gangs and working on other things to get free labor out of us. So then you have that narrative of Black people are lazy. They don't want to work. They're not doing anything. Well, we can't work if you don't give us the jobs. And then that stigma and those images over time and over the years, over decades, has stuck. And those are some of the images that you still see today. And so I think that's where that stigma comes from. They just kept adding on to it. And once you keep adding on to it, people make their own assumptions. A good example of that is in the 13th documentary that's on Netflix. It talks all about that and how this stigma of Black men or Black people in general came to be.
I want to piggyback off of that.
Go ahead.
I think there's a small element that also sisters, don't at me. Okay. I don't want to come to my social media and all of a sudden y'all ready to choke me on this one. But I think a part of it also was helped by sisters spreading that as well. He ain't taking care of his baby, but some of them weren't. But not all.
Why do you think they're spreading that though? I'm not cutting you off unless you finish your statement. Right. But why do you think they're spreading that? And is it justified? Of course, not all the time.
Right.
But there's always a start. The idea is Black men have been pulled away from the families on purpose.
True.
And the women feel as if you're not fighting to come back to the home. So you're not fighting to come back to the home. You left us abandoned. So of course you ain't shit.
So how many gave opportunity for him to come back versus made it harder for him to come back?
That's something totally different. Absolutely. I mean, I get what you're saying, but sometimes when it comes to women, the biggest thing is we want you to be something that you're either not, that's not your frame of reference. You never saw it before. You don't know what that is. I come from the generation where the men daddy just worked, made sure you had food, you're provided for, and mom did all the nurturing and all that other stuff. And I feel that a lot of times we force upon men what we want them to be, how we want them to be fathers. And then instead of deal with it, some people just walk away. Because why fight with me? Just walk away. Here's the money. I'm walking away. Because some men, as long as I'm taking care of you financially, why are you worried about anything else? Mm-hmm. But go ahead, finish your statement. I'm not trying to cut you off.
I mean, you kind of did what I was going to say. That was thanks, Mom.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't.
No, but that's exactly it. On one hand, you have the hip hop version of it, right? Mm-hmm. We're in jail or we're not taking care of our kids, and then you have the reality, right? And no one likes to see reality. They love to hear the glorified story of it. But it also starts at the house too, because if you have a mother sitting here saying that, you know, your daddy wasn't this and your daddy ain't that, and then you meet a guy and then he ain't this and he ain't that, and then all of a sudden now you're perpetuating that negativity all the way down to the seed, and all it's going to do is manifest generation after generation. So when you come across an actual good brother that wants to take care of his child or wants to be in the children's life, it may not work out between the parents, but why you got to use the child to hold the dad hostage?
But that isn't even just Black fatherhood. That's just fatherhood that people deal with. But why is it that people tend to make it so much more as if Black men are the worst fathers when that's an issue people have no ability for?
We're the easiest target. We're the easiest target because one, like Frank said, man, it started back in way back before the Civil War. It started how we came over here in the first place. And we're the easiest one to attack because everybody's going to automatically believe the stigmata about us. So it's not hard to sell that. Basically, it's hard to sell that. Basically, more white folks use Section 8 living and all that good stuff than Black folk. Oh, it's hard to sell that, but to let a Black person say, "Hey, I got some food stamps," somebody's going to believe. Oh yeah, Black folks gets food stamps a lot. No, not really. Not really. I mean, I done bought a couple off the side, but
oh, absolutely.
Majority of them was from white folks. So it's the stigmata that's easy to sell. It's like it's easy to sell that story, and everything is being sold. Like I said, doing marketing, you see how everything is being sold to you, from the way you use your phone to the way you figure out. Like, for example, let's look at McDonald's. You ain't never seen so many Black people in McDonald's commercials in your life. Okay, now you got sisters with natural hair because, almost 10 years ago, we went through a natural hair movement, right? Where everybody was wearing their fros and doing all of that. And now you started seeing sisters in commercials with their hair all natural. Then you started seeing brothers in commercials with their hair natural because they're selling that, right? But it's easy sale from the media all the way down to the ghetto of the ghetto, the hoods of the hoods, that Black fathers don't do what we supposed to do. That's why it's so hard to get us out of that mindset, because it's been sold for decades and eons that we don't take care of our children. Because one, for example, how many Black people you hear about, how many Black dads do you hear about kidnapping kids? Go ahead, I'll wait.
I don't.
Exactly. Why? Because we already got ours and we already taking care of ours and we not trying to steal no more.
So would you say, and Frank, I want you to chime in, would you say it's safe to say, though, with all the negativity around Black fatherhood and leads into Black men, it plays into the fear that people have for Black men?
I would say it plays somewhat of a role, right? Okay. You again, back to what he was saying, you look at how the Black men were separated from their families, sold off, right? You were sold off, separated from your family, separated from that. So I truly believe, and I started researching this a little bit more, I truly believe that again has transcended over, right? So you look at all the different stigmas, you look at the things that are said, you look at how we have been betrayed over the years. Example, you're talking about marketing. I don't remember the last time, like dog food commercials. Think about it. When you see dog food commercials, you always see a white person with their dogs. They're all happy. They're petting their dogs. I don't remember the last time I saw a Black person in a dog food commercial, and that's just strange to me. That just it's weird. But I think that a lot of stigmas have been placed over the years, and people have, especially if they're already racist and they're being brought up that way, they believe those stigmas. Right. Black people all like watermelon. Black people all like chicken. Well, most of us do, but it's not a stigma. That's all we like, right? So it's hard to explain because it's been so many different things that have been perpetrated about us. But I still think that stuff stands today. I still think that there are pieces of that. And then sometimes when you're given money is not enough, right? A very wise person explained that to me. Hey, you provide, but you got to make sure that you are also spending time with your kids, making sure that you are doing the things you need to do, even when you don't want to do them, right? No matter how tired you are, you still got to spend that quality time with your children. So those are things that they remember. So it lasts. So when they have their kids, they'll do those same qualities, and you break that stigma about us, especially as Black men.
Yep. One of the comments was earlier from Joycelyn, unrealistic expectations, that we women have unrealistic expectations for men as fathers. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no.
Yeah, okay. I would say it's it's one of those mixtures, right? It depends on the type of female that you're dealing with. I'm gonna use one of your sayings I heard you say one time, Elise. If you are dealing with a woman who is grown, you shouldn't be running into those type of issues, right? Those high expectations, because you have to understand, and I think Will Smith was talking about this with Jada last week. Hey, you have to understand that I am a man and I want to do what I need to do, but I am not perfect. You have to be able to accept that as well, right? And help me grow. So it depends on who you're dealing with. Now, if you're dealing with somebody that you probably really shouldn't have been dealing with, and you knew what it was when you got with her, you're probably going to get that. You're probably going to get that high expectation, right? And then sometimes it's just spite.
A lot of times.
I think everyone should watch that Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett and Will Smith. They did for Father's Day. It was really, really good. And I love when he said, you have to, the issue he ran in with his first wife was she wanted him to father the way she wanted him to father. And that's not fair, because that's not the father he understood or knew. He fathered by what he knew. His dad was task driven. Everything was a lesson he was teaching you. It wasn't those little throw the ball in the yard, all that type of stuff. But everything he did was a lesson that he learned, and he had to step back and allow his son to come back to him when he was ready, because it was going to be a constant battle. And maybe, I'm not a mother, but I can easily see on the one hand where women can try to push upon you what their idea happens to be of fatherhood, when that's not fair, when that may not be what you're used to, what you know. And that's the butting of the heads. That's the unrealistic expectations that people have. And I love when Will said, you have to allow me to be a father in my imperfections. It's not going to be perfect, but let me be a father. Let me have that. Let me be that. One of our comments came in when it came to Black men and Black fathers. Pop culture, movies, and music push the idea that Black men are something they are not.
So what are we not? Superheroes? Because I'm pretty feeling pretty super my damn self right now. Like, you can't see my case. I'm not saying I'm Batman. You ain't never seen me and him in the same room together. That's all I'm saying.
We'll remove you from this chat.
See, that's what Texans fans would do. That's what y'all do.
Right now?
Ain't nothing but space and opportunity.
The next comment that he made, Mr. Barker made, was, when the gateway is controlled by rich white people, white folks, they will push their agenda. So when you push saying the music is the reason why kids are acting the way they're acting, when you had hard rock and metal that was aggressive, you're always pushing when it comes to people. People tend to push a stereotype on all men and all Black fathers, and you have to live through those stereotypes. Absentee fathers, thugs, etc. That's what he meant by pushing the agenda.
Real quick, I think first off, I think when you say all men, all fathers, nah, you can't put Black fathers, to me, in the same category with all fathers.
Okay, because, separate it.
Because for one, all fathers don't go through the things that Black fathers have to go through. I just feel like waxing it on right now. But we don't go through all of those. I'm sorry, we go through a lot more pressure, problems. We're the only ones that have to fight them outside, and sometimes have to fight the system when we come inside. And then on top of that, have to have the energy and the patience to want to father as well a child that's seen that type of disrespect or seen that type of bumping of the head and think that's normal. So now your child is also looking at you the same way. And sometimes, that I don't, and this is just, again, going off of opinion, I don't think other fathers from different nationalities have to go through it as bad as we do. Not saying they don't go through the problems that we go through, as far as, you know, in the home, in the parenting differences, and the mom wanting you to parent like this. And not saying they don't go through that. I'm just saying that when it comes to being a Black father, you know, just like Black women, they don't talk about Black women like white women. They don't ever say she's a strong white girl. They don't ever say she's a strong Latin chick. No, they only say that about our sisters, because our sisters have to be strong because of parts of things that we drop the ball on as brothers. Okay. But then it's two things that they see us have to go through. They got to pick us up too. Sometimes we got to come home and we got the arrows in our back looking like we just, you know, they tried to hunt us, and Yosemite Sam and them outside waiting on us. And she has to be able to lick our wounds and clean us up and take care of us. That puts pressure on her, because no one wants to see the man who's supposed to be the provider, who's supposed to be the protector, who's supposed to do all of these things for you guys, look like that when they come in. We can't look tired. We can't be frustrated, because as a Black man, we are the damn superhero. We are Superman that just no one ever wants to give us our credit. We've been out there saving these white folk for all these years, cleaning up their mess, and nobody want to give us that credit. And then we got to come home and clean up whatever problems his, because sister going through her problems too, and we got to be there for her as well. So it's so many things that we as Black men have to deal with. Just by stepping outside the door, we're automatically looked as a threat. We have to keep ourselves calm. We have to internalize a lot of feelings that people don't even realize we have. And let's not even get started about when we go to work.
Frank, I want you to jump in.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, you know, when you know, that hard part, that what really stands out to me is the part about, hey, we got to deal with all these pressures out here, right? And stay strong, and then come home and deal with some of those same pressures, right? And the expectation is man up. That is the expectation. And that's why I'm so glad that now more and more Black people are being more open to mental health issues and getting counseling, because it's no different than a garage, right? Your mind is like a garage. If you keep filling that garage up with stuff, eventually that garage is going to be full, and you're not going to have any more room to do anything in there, right? At some point, you got to get rid of some of that stuff. So all of those problems, all of those pressures, all of those fears that you may have about your daily routine or what's going on in your life needs to be emptied out, so that you can have a clear mind to handle the things that are going to be the other things that are going to be brought to you. So, you know, it's one of those things is like, we have to be able to work together in the relationship, one, for us, for the family, and especially now for our children.
I do want to bring up, because we're going to dip into the women and men and Black women. So there was a great interview, had to be 60s to 70s, of Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin, where they're discussing Black men and Black women in the relationship. And she said something, well, you know, lie to me, do that for me, because what happens in the Black household, and, you know, Brandon, you touched on it. Yeah, you're going through a lot outside the door, and you're having the life pressures hitting you. But usually when y'all come home, you dump all that on us, and you take everything out on us. So and not all of them, not all men, but some, and you're causing this rift in the relationship when we're here to love you and take care of you and be there for you, but you're coming home with that bullshit that we didn't cause. And mind you, a lot of us in the household going out there too, getting some bullshit. Like you said, Black women are not thought of as this, we're thought of as extra strong. They don't even think we feel pain.
Right.
We don't feel pain. We can do it. All these things. So you come home with your bullshit, and I have to be nice and meek and sweet because you got your bullshit, and you just taking all your bullshit out on me because you couldn't do it out there. So you're causing a rift sometimes in that household. That's causing some women to feel as if you ain't shit because you don't have time to father, so I have time to mother. So you can come home and be frustrated and sit in your room, close the door, have a drink, do what you have to do, and I still got to be a wife and a mother and work. That's not fair. Yes, you may not express yourself the same way as we do, but let's be real. The pressure for Black men, there's also a pressure for Black women, as Black women, as mothers. So when you come home with your bullshit, which I know you're going through bullshit because you're a Black man, I know you feeling it. I know you are. So I got to come home, make sure you're okay. The kid's okay because you don't have time to father. You don't have time for that, right? Because you're providing. But I also got a mother as well. There's an unfairness there, though. That let's recognize the true unfairness that has been caused in the household. I mean, granted, we communicate differently. There need to be understanding. We shouldn't pound on you. You shouldn't pound on us. But let's be real. A lot of times, y'all come home with that bullshit, and we're just here to love and care for you. What's going on, and you take it all out on us, or you don't have time. And then it's like, what's your job? My job is to also bring home some bread and some bacon and take care of everything else. So how do you change that narrative of calming your ass down when you come home and realizing that the struggle is real on both sides?
Before I answer that question, no, I ain't quiet. Before I answer that question, I have a question of my own.
Okay.
So if you came home, right? What if you were the sole provider and you had a stay-at-home dad? Well, how'd that make you feel?
Why would I feel any different? Why do people think parents who stay at home, their job is easy, though?
No, that's not what I asked you. I asked you if you came home, you were the sole provider.
Okay.
And your husband was the stay-at-home dad. How would that make you feel?
If I'm making the money, it wouldn't bother me.
So you wouldn't look at him just a little bit as a little weak?
The way the world is set up right now, childcare costs so much money that if it's cheaper for him to stay home, then he stay. If I'm making the most money and it makes sense for him to stay home, well, I'm going to go out and work because I already know the way the world is. That's not an easy job, especially right now where kids have been homeschooled for so long, everything going on. That's the problem. Too many men don't respect the fact that women who stay home and don't go out to work, they're thinking their job is easy.
Huh?
You shocked?
I don't. Whoa! Wait a second.
But you asked me a question, so you flip it. So how does that man feel that he comes home and I'm home with the child? See, when you ask that question, I'm gonna give you the flip on it.
It's a lot of heat coming from that side right now. It's a lot of heat.
I'm just saying. You asked the question as if
Tell him about the gun law, bro.
He's home with the children. So are you vexed that I'm home with the kids?
So
see, when you ask that question, you're throwing disrespect on what people who stay at home with them children is behind it, man or woman. That job is not easy.
No,
y'all both parents. Y'all know how them kids are.
Yeah, what throwing disrespect to anybody who stayed at home? Okay, so
Frank, you don't stay quiet, huh?
On this whole public forum,
let y'all have this one.
I need you to kind of down just a little bit because I know where you live.
I'm just asking a question.
I'll pull up. No, the reason why I asked it is because because I was trying to show the difference as far as the mindset. If a man stayed home and the woman went out and made the bread, would those type of rifts still exist? Because when we come home and say you're the stay-at-home mom or you work, okay, you were saying the rifts because we don't know how to communicate our difference, our issue, our problem, our pain to you guys without taking it out on you. And I just asked the question because would it change if you were the one making all the money? If you were the one being the provider, if you didn't have the stigma of nurturer, mother, caretaker, all of these things that women, quote unquote, are supposed to be, what if it was you were the provider? You were the strength. You were this, and would that change the communication between the women and men, or would there still be the rift in the house? And would you be the one taking it out on us? Or would you be the one that we would have to console and pick up? Because we can go both ways.
So we have to console and be there for each other. Just because I make the money doesn't mean I'm the only strength in the house. That's the first problem. People think because you make the money, you're the strength. That doesn't make sense like that.
But are you allowing the other strength to be the strength?
I may be bringing the money in, but it's all about understanding that we're both going through a struggle throughout our day. and coming home and thinking I can just turn off and let you do your thing. It can't just be one.
Right.
It has to be give and take. And that's what caused a lot of tension in these relationships. And I'm real single. I ain't got no babies. I'm just telling you what I've seen. The frustration is if you have to figure out what we're going to do as a couple in this relationship, in this union, right? And what's going to work best. But you can't come in like, remember good times? James would come in there frustrated every damn day. Like, James, Florida ain't did shit to you. We're trying to give you some dinner and love on you. He come in vexed every day. How fair is that to her when she got to deal with JJ and Michael's smart ass self and Thelma trying to be hot? Was that fair?
Nah.
You know what I mean?
Nah. But the go back to your question of the strength. Are you allowing the strength to be the fellow strength person in the house? Are you allowing them to be strong as well?
You have to allow them to be. What I'm saying is we've been doing it wrong for a very long time.
Yep.
And if you look at it, that causes those rifts. And we're at a generation now we should do things better. We know about mental wellness. We understand about communication. We both have to do better. That way Black men do not get the negative stigma of, oh, there's that Black father. He must be absentee. Because when it comes to advertising, you'll see a Black woman with her children and there's no dad.
Yep.
Because there's a stigma there.
Yep.
And we have to change the narrative. And if we communicate better with each other, maybe we'll have less detachment happening and understand, even if you're not together as a couple, knowing that because we didn't work out, we got to take care of these kids because the world looking at us to fail.
Right.
They want us to fail. They want us to say, see, I told you they're in the system. I told you he's no good. He probably ain't doing shit. And sometimes we get so flipped, we help the narrative. He ain't doing shit. He ain't about shit. Many times we have to put aside our personal feelings for each other and focus on what the parenting is.
Yeah. Like sisters, why y'all try to put us on a whole bunch of, how am I going to provide for myself and for my child if I'm paying thousands of dollars in child support every month? Then on top of that, you want more. Where is it going to come from? I have to work 4 jobs just to pay for your Gucci bag that you, for whatever reason, just popped up on you.
You see you doing some stereotypical, you do some assumption shit. Don't do that.
I am playing assumptions, but I'm also playing facts too, though. They exist. There's always truth in those.
Quiet. Frank, you staying quiet?
Well, let me say this, right? So I think it is, to B. Scott's point, there are people or women that are like that. They're not providing for their kids. All these men are out here, giving child support, working as hard as they can. They're taking the money out their check, but they're not seeing where that money is going. They're not showing where that money is going. I'll do a reverse, and please don't beat me up, but I'll give you an example of that, right? So an example would be, imagine if you were the one having to pay child support to the man and y'all had 2 kids together. Every time you turn around, the man got on a fresh pair of J's, got a fresh cut. He clean all the time. But when you see your kids looking raggedy. How is that going to make you feel? Now, on top of that, I'm going around, and I'm going around talking about how you ain't shit. You ain't doing nothing. That little child support that you give ain't nothing. How is that going to make you? How would that make you feel? Because there are men, good ones, because whatever, it didn't work out between them and that person, that are getting child support taken away from them. Or in some instances, what's even crazier, has been paying child support, has been taking care of the kids that they thought were theirs, and find out years later that the kid is not theirs. So there are a lot of different instances that, again, stigma, right? Stigma. Men don't do what they're supposed to do. They're not taking care of their children. Well, you may not see me with my kids simply because she's mad at me because we didn't work out, and she's telling the kids that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do when I am. You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of different instances, but I also think that communication is key when you have kids. At some point in time, both parents have to be adults, right? and be grown and understand that I'm not worried about you. You're not worried about me. The only thing I am concerned with is making sure that we are in these kids' life, especially as Black parents, right? School calls, don't automatically assume it's mama coming up there. Mama and daddy both coming. And then look at the principal like, yeah, or the teacher like, yeah, I know you thought only one was showing up. He has a father too. She has a father too. Those are the type of things that communication plays in a role. You know, those are things that we have to be better at, you know, because there is that assumption. You automatically assume mama coming up here. What do they always say? They don't say, do you want me to call your daddy? What do they say? You want me to call your mama? You want me to call your mama? You know, in school, you know, so I think it's a little bit of both. Communication is the key, at least, but also understand that there are situations that there are good men out there trying to do the right thing.
Absolutely.
And mama scorn won't let that happen.
So let's roll into protecting Black women. Do you feel, I want to know what happened to protecting us. Recent events I know we've probably all seen it, where you had a young activist who was tweeting and texting that she was being attacked, end up getting killed. She was 19 years old.
I saw that.
A young lady in the Army right now is missing, and I think they know where she is, but no one's saying anything. Breonna Taylor getting killed in her home. You have a video out there where these young men think it was cool. This guy and his child's mother were arguing or whatever they were doing, and I don't know what it was. He hit her in the head with the skateboard, and his friends are recording it and laughing.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? What's going on? Why is it that we can call for help and we're not heard, but everyone else they're running to? Because no matter what the frustration may be that you have for us, we are the one set of women that we get compared, put down, talked about. Either we're not light enough, we're too loud, we're too strong, we don't listen because everybody else, the white girl listen, the Asian girl listen, everybody else is better than us. Or we're too independent. You don't hear that with anyone else. I don't hear other men talk about their women the way I hear Black men talk about Black women. But all of a sudden now there's this big rally where we got to protect them. Why you haven't been protecting us? We've been protecting y'all. What happened? Where did the disconnect happen? What are you telling your boys now, your children? Why is it okay to think it's funny to hit someone in the head with a skateboard and laugh? Why is it okay to have us walk out by ourselves and not be protected? I want to know, when did this happen? I'm not saying that you two did it, but I just need to know, how do you feel about when you hear these things and you realize that we have been left behind? We're trafficked, everything's going on with us and no one is looking for us. You can put 2 Amber Alerts out right now. 25-year-old woman missing. Let her be white. Let her be Black, and who you think gonna be hit the front page?
Of course, it's gonna be a white girl.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
Frank, you got it, brother.
Okay. So let me give you an example. I've already told my daughter. Okay, she's my oldest. She will be 16 in November. I've already told her, as soon as she's able to, at 18, she's gonna be packing. She's gonna be packing. I bear arms. At least, you know, I always talk about that on my show, and because I understand what's going on out there. Now, fast forward. Say I didn't have her, right? It used to piss me off to see some of the things, especially this younger generation with the camera phones and all that, and the smartphones. I've seen it happen to older Black women. I've seen it happen to older women who are minding their business, where there was a woman in New York City a couple months back on the train that got hit in the head by this young man, and people were recording it. And I'm sitting there like, why the fuck are y'all standing there just looking and recording it? You should have been jumping on that dude, like getting after him. Another example, a couple of weeks ago, right here, literally a couple of blocks from my house, there's a Bojangles up the restaurant up the street. 2 white kids pull into the driveway. It's a Friday. Bojangles is packed in the drive-thru, it's busy. They pull up to the window, tell the black girl they want free drinks because they've been waiting for a long time. Black girl says, no, I'm not going to give you any free drinks. I can't do that. They call her Black B, pull off, come back through the drive-thru, speak to the manager who happens to be white and says, the white manager pulls out, she takes the drinks out there. But in the meantime, when she told the manager what happened, the manager said, what you need to be worried about is the drive-thru. Now, I say that to say, after she gave him the drinks, those two boys waited in the car after closing, waiting for that young lady to come out of the store to try to either do something to her or trying to intimidate her. And me and the fellows was talking about it on last week's episode. Like, yo, if that would have been us, we would have been waiting there right there with her, walked her out and been like, yo, what's up? What you want to do? Because that's not happening on my watch, period. You know what I'm saying? And we just got to get better at that. I mean, I did see a video where a white man was bothering a pregnant black woman about a parking space.
Mm-hmm.
That brother, he was an old timer. That brother pulled up.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Did you see that? He was like, yo, what you doing? And you could tell he was packing because anybody that carries, they never draw their gun unless they're going to use it. And he didn't, you could just tell by his movements. People that carry guns, they know by the movements, people that are serious, because when that man ran up on him, he went for his hand like, hey man, you better get back. You're not going to bother her. Don't you see she's pregnant? You better get out of here before you get what you're looking for. So we got to get better at that. This smartphone age, I mean, even fights with kids, same thing. I'm like, yo, I tell my kids all the time, I was like, yo, so y'all think it's cool that you recording somebody getting their butt whooped? You think that's funny? That's cool? I said, we ain't do stuff like that. I was like, what are you recording it for? So you can put it on social media and have other people chime in about it? That's just the day and age that people feel that they're in, and it's not funny. So when we're talking about protection, trust, if I see something going down and I know what's going on, it's not happening on my watch.
But what do you think has happened?
Especially with everything going right now.
That's true. That's true. What do you think has happened to where it stopped though? What?
That's a good question.
I think
I hear what you're saying. I hear you. But what I also do hear and see and read is, oh, you too independent, you too strong, or there's no respect.
That has nothing to do with it. That has absolutely nothing to do with it.
But I'm trying to figure out what's going on though. Why is it that we have to beg for protection? Why is it that right now we have to keep keeping someone's name to keep it going?
Let me say this, and B Sky, I'll let you get in there. Let me say this. If someone is saying that just because a woman is independent and she's strong, that doesn't mean that she doesn't want to be protected. Let's get that out the way. Let's be clear about that, right? Mm-hmm. And most of the times, just because she portrays that image is because she has to. It's not because she always wants to, okay? Because one or two things, to your point, she's either picking us up and trying to make us better or taking care of the family. So that portrayal of strength is there. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't want to be protected. And if I heard somebody saying that, in my opinion, I would probably say that's an excuse, right? Oh, you're too independent. So that means she deserves to get her ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to let some man hit somebody, and you're going to let a black female get hit in the head by another brother with a skateboard because she's too independent, or because she said something smart that you didn't like, or she is opinionated because she doesn't agree with what you want her to do or say? That makes absolutely no sense to me, period. You know what I'm saying? And that's an excuse. We got to get away from that. You're making excuses. Just because a woman is independent doesn't mean that she doesn't want to be protected. And it doesn't mean that she shouldn't feel protected when she's out with you or amongst other black men, period.
And you don't have to know her to protect her.
That's right. I said what I said.
Exactly. Frank, to piggyback off of that, I think it's a two-pronged answer. When the fathers left the homes back in the 70s and 80s, but not on their own free will, but being dragged out, kicking and screaming by the police, they also took the OGs out of the streets. We took the rules. There used to be rules in the streets. There was folk you didn't mess with, the elders, and the kids, and the women. You weren't gonna come in the hood and do that. The rules left. Now the rules are in jail. Okay, so now you have this second and third generation of kids who didn't grow up with the rules. Okay, so they think they big stuff and hot stuff and all. Me personally, a lot of feminine minded kids now that are boys, that are men, not because they wanted to be, because there was no father in the house, so all they could know was to have the feminine type tendencies. Walk with me. I'm going somewhere with this while you're squinting at me.
Okay.
So when you don't have the older brother to tell you in the household what you're not going to do is treat your mama like this, your sister like this, or any other woman in your family like this, there goes the thought process of also protecting other women that you're around. Okay, because you didn't have that thought process when you weren't raised with that thought process. For example, when Frank was talking about his fellas, y'all not gonna do that on our watch. It was somebody in Frank's life that told him what you're not gonna do is disrespect your mama, your grandmama, your sisters, your aunties, the women in your life. So then that fosters that type of that relationship within a man of, I'm not gonna let another woman get treated like this. I wouldn't let my wife, wouldn't let my sister, wouldn't let my, you see what I'm saying? So these kids don't have that mindset. They wear skinny jeans and think that's cute. These are the kids that respect the person who gets shot, not the shooter.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So their whole thought process is different in the first place. They look at women more as sexual objects than they do as goddesses like they are. And half of them, just to be true, be taller 2% thugs. So they wouldn't even know how to fight and protect one of them if they needed to.
Facts.
But let me ask you this, and I'll let you finish. So you also have the narrative of, because we don't respect ourselves, why should I respect you?
Nope, didn't say that. Didn't say that at all. Nope.
No, I'm just saying, I mean.
Nope, you're not even gonna try to hit me with that okie doke.
No, I'm just telling you, it's because you have it out there where if you don't wear it, because Black women, you shouldn't wear this. We're over sexualized on a regular basis.
I didn't say that. All I said was you.
I never said you. Don't listen defensively. Listen offensively. I never said you. I never said you. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. What I am a Black woman. What I hear.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, why is she wearing that then? If she wasn't wearing it, women on the whole, why is she wearing that then?
Mm-hmm.
Why she have it on? Well, she look grown. You know, so it's like you get these things, but she don't respect herself anyway, so why should I respect her? It's almost as if respect, yes, you earned respect. Yes, I get that, but we're carrying a blame that's not even warranted sometimes.
Right.
I didn't say you, but because, you know, you're not around that age group, but it's out there.
Yeah, no, but I have nephews who are around that age group, and I've had those conversations with them as well, because I've heard some of the stuff come out their mouth. I had to walk past the room like, hold on, player, what'd you say? And you know, their thought process, again, they're growing up in a different age, you know, where you got the chicks who injecting stuff in their ass and trying to look thick and all of that good stuff. For one, women, y'all get told y'all ain't shit every day in a magazine. You ain't shit if you ain't got this makeup. You ain't shit if you ain't got this bag. You ain't shit if you don't do this, just by the way they market to you guys. But that's a whole nother story. When it comes to the situation here, again, the rules in the streets are not there anymore. You don't have any more OGs. I mean, you have some, but you don't have enough. You got more knuckleheads out there who don't know 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Okay. You got enough of them out there, and all they really want to do, everybody just wants to be Insta this or Facebook that. And if it takes me cracking a chick upside their head with a skateboard to get that, that's what they're willing to do. Now, if the rules were there, the OGs was there, the first thing somebody would have said once the camera went off, hey, now you know such and such down the street. Now you know he gonna be in your ass tomorrow if he know that you hit that chick in the face with that skateboard. And what they gonna probably do, man, nobody's scared of him. Woo, woo, woo. But as soon as OG get up in his face, what was that you were saying? You did what? I know I just didn't hear you. There's not enough of that. There's no check and balance right now with these youngins.
But you have men that blame the women for that, though.
You have who?
You have men that blame the women for that.
Yeah, and I
saying
bet
won't
you
let us be in the household. So now
right.
you
And I bet you them the same men that live with their mama but got 22s on their cars. I bet you them the same ones too. The same ones that if you look in their bank account right now, they have only one account and a lot of zeros in that joint with no commas. Because them the kind of brothers those are the foolish brothers that say that. Those are the ones that say that. Because that's how they look at them. That's what they teach.
Mhm.
You know, the ones that, you know, if you come across a brother that would look at a sister because of what she doesn't have on versus the type of conversation she can have, one, there you go. That's the brother that's gonna probably put his hands on a sister or won't protect the sister because he's a 2% thug and scared as hell. Want to look cool, but can't do it. So again, when those brothers went into when the white folks start snatching our fathers out the homes, the rules in the streets left, the OGs left to keep the checks and balances to school some of these young brothers. Okay, that was key. That was key. I grew up in the hood too, and again, the drug dealers had rules. The drug dealers weren't gonna sell to kids like that. Some of them did, but they knew to leave the grandparents alone, the older generation, the women, and some of the young kids. You had rules. Now,
But how do we get back to it now? Because I will say this, because we're being hard on men, but I will say this: there's a generation of people who grew up with that mindset on both sides, men and women, and you have women who are disrespectful to each other and men,
mhm,
and it's almost like you're not looked at as a woman, and you're not looked at as a man. So the respect is gone across the board, and that's how they handle each other. Because that's what you're seeing. You're not seeing it with the older, you're seeing it with that certain age group.
Mhm.
But how do we now, with everything going on in this world that's under a microscope, it's always been going on. Let's just keep it real. It's always been happening. But
yeah,
how do we now take this opportunity to turn the car around with the foolishness of disrespect of each other and remember that we have to protect each other? You have to be there for each other, even if you know them or not. How do we get back to that?
I have one word, and I want Frank to piggyback off of that.
For
Accountability.
sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. The accountability and that starts at home, right? It starts at home. I had said on another podcast that I was on a couple of weeks ago, I told for the first time I told him that I was adopted, right? So I never knew my biological father. So because I never knew my biological father, my adopted parents, they were together, didn't find out till years later that they were having issues before I was even adopted, right? So
Mhm.
my aunt told me that. So my dad, my adopted dad, he did stuff with me. I remember things he did with me as a kid and, playing catch, taking me to baseball games, all that stuff, right? But when they separated and it got to the point, I went down south with my other family members, dad wasn't there, right? Uh, You know, my aunts and everybody, they were on their own. They were single moms themselves. My dad wasn't there. My mom was in New York. And so I'm down here with all my cousins, all my friends. I had OGs to B's point. I had a lot of older men that were around me because I could have went this way and did a lot of other different things. But they said, yo, you got something in you. This is what you should be doing. They pull me to the side and tell me, forget what your cousins and what they doing. I'm talking to you. This is what you should be doing. And I still have those OGs today that I can call on if I need to speak to them. It's just we got to get back into that. When we see some stuff going down with some of these young cats, we need to pull them aside. Hey, man, listen, you need to stop doing that. That's not what we do. I think once we start doing that and having that accountability, starting from home, making sure that they understand this is how it works. That's why I got into youth coaching, because I know there are a lot of single moms out there that had boys that there's only so much they can teach them. And so they bring him up there to play football. Even if they don't want to play football, they bring him up there because they want them to be around other men. There's a reason for that. So even though those women try to play like hey, I don't want your daddy ain't nothing, I don't want to do, they still want them around men because they know when he gets out in that world, especially as a black man, nobody's going to give a damn about your problems or your sorrows. Nobody. So they try to put them around some people that are going to help instill something in those kids. So that accountability is a strong word, and that's what we should be doing.
Yeah. I mean, just to piggyback off Frank, it's virtually scientifically impossible for a woman to teach a boy how to be a man. Just like it's virtually impossible for a man to teach a girl how to be a woman. You need that balance. You need that yin and that yang. And like he said, we need to be able, a lot of times I think some of the older generation are scared to talk to these younger generational kids because the young generation gives this personification like they're bad boys and they're going to do this and do that. And the older generation is either too old to fight them or don't have the patience to deal with them, and like he said, that's why he got into coaching. That's one of the reasons why I want to get into coaching. That's one of the reasons why I want to use my cooking to teach young black people how to cook and be a culinary, because there's always going to be people who need to cook and always going to be folk who are going to want to eat. But more importantly, I want to be able to talk to them, look them smooth in the eyes and be like, yo, for one, pull your pants up. 2, yes, sir, no, sir. 3, be on time. 4, what you're not going to do is come in here and disrespect each other. So we're not going to come in here calling each other niggas. Ladies, you're not going to be up in here calling each other bitches. And y'all going to sit down and y'all going to talk to each other. Because at the end of the day, we also need the youngins to help us keep them accountable. So we have to imprint on some of the other youngins to help imprint on the other youngins, because they only going to listen to the old folks for so long.
Right.
But if they had they homie Nut over there telling them, hey, yo, you can't do that.
It just takes one of those kids to listen to get everybody riled together.
Yep.
So let me ask you this. Let's go into the last thing I want to talk about, and then we can have a free range if you would like. Black entrepreneurship. Right now, with everything going on, there has been a major surge in support of Black-owned businesses, be it restaurants. Any business it is. If it's Black-owned, people are trying to just patronize it. How do you feel about that as entrepreneurs, and how do we keep that momentum going past the smoke? Because it will slow down. People are going to get distracted. It happens. We're humans. But how do we keep the momentum going amongst each other? Because for the longest while, we have been the biggest critics of our own and their business, being customer service, be it the price. They didn't, why is so much, always looking for a hookup, whatever it may be. But how do we keep the momentum going to keep everyone afloat in society when it comes to Black entrepreneurship? Mr. Styles?
I would probably say, I think this time is different. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is I know what you mean, right? Something happens, something goes on, we rah-rah for a little while, and then it dies down, right? But I truly, truly believe right now that it's different because I've never seen this much support going forward. I think people, due to Mr. Floyd's tragedy, that tragedy with George Floyd and everyone else that this has happened to at the hands of the police, I think people's eyes are really, really open at this point. And I think they're starting to understand what they were talking about is everything needs to be Black. We need to have our own money. We need to have our own businesses, things that have been said for years. But I think people are like, you know what? They might be right. They don't want us. They don't want our money. And we're going to put it over here and we're going to build our own. So I think it's a little bit different. I think we need to keep it going. I think we need to, even if it dies down a little bit, I think you need to make it a practice, take it upon yourself to challenge yourself to purchase something from a Black-owned business, or, to go at a Black-owned business at least 2 to 3 times a month in some form or fashion, whether it's online, whether it's a store, whatever the case may be. Because there's other ways that you can support businesses, necessarily not always just giving money. There's other ways that you can do that. Right. We all have platforms that we can use to help promote some of those Black businesses. So I think that it's a little bit different this time, but even if it dies down, I think the biggest thing is just recognizing that fact and not forgetting, hey, we still need to support our own.
Yep.
Mr. Scott.
I just say about damn time. Honestly. Just to be honest, I just say about damn time. I mean, because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense that the black dollar stays in the black community only 6 hours, right? 6 freaking hours. Come on, man. That's 3 movies. It's 3 movies. That's right around that time where Netflix is asking you, "Are you still there?" You know, there's there's 2 baseball games. You know, there's so many things that you just really look at it. 6 freaking hours. So I say about time, and put these folk who really, like Bank of America, who knew white folks and racism was always out there, and now they want to, oh, we're going to give $1 billion to helping with discrimination.
You have to do the voice, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I got to do the voice. In case he had a side gig for me. Good when you shoot.
I got you.
But how about instead of trying to give $1 billion to fighting discrimination, how about accepting some of those loans to black-owned businesses, to the small businesses? How about instead of telling us no or trying to make it so hard for us to have a business in the first place, how about helping us? And then lastly to that, when it comes to Black entrepreneurship, and I don't know if y'all want me to get too close to the camera because I am kind of ugly, but black folk, quit asking for a discount. We're not giving it no discount. We want you to have the same energy that you had when you walked up into them white folk stores. Give us the same energy. Give us the same energy. Respect your black entrepreneur that you're going to by giving them the same respect and energy as you were going into the mall, going into Tiffany and Companies or Foot Locker. Seriously, that it starts there's how we treat our black businesses too. We know them white folks ain't gonna come up in there. We know the Hispanic folk is not gonna come up there. We daggum sure know the Asians not gonna come up in there. So when they have to actually market to the black people that they're marketing to or get those people to come in, give them that same patience that you would give a white folks establishment. Give them the same extra money or tips, right? Don't go in there like, psst, psst, hey, man, you can't give me 5 off, man. No, I can't give you 5 off, G. I can give you this extra piece of bread and this one extra piece of pepper in that joint and go about your business. Thank you for your business, though. But no, I can't give you an extra bit and stop asking. We don't go into white folks' establishment asking for a hookup. We have to wait till they mess up and then look at them like, well, am I going to get a 50% off card?
I will say this. I think it's beautiful to see the patronage happening, and I wish it had always been that way. And what we have to realize is as we patronize more, it will make everyone up their standard, up their customer service, and up what they're trying to do. Because now you have the business, you need to keep up the business. You need to, because word of mouth is strong.
Yep.
And if it's not good, it's not good. And now there's so many businesses that you can go to that's black owned. I don't have to go to yours. So it's going to make people up the quality, up their customer service, put the investment in because now they're making the money to give you better quality all the way around. We should demand quality from our people because we're quality individuals. We shouldn't expect it to be less than, but we should also have grace and understanding because a lot of these businesses right now selling out of food because they had never had that happen before. They're overwhelmed. We have to be with grace because we can give everyone else grace. Let's give our own people grace. And I think right now we're in a position where they just can't burn our shit down like they used to. They just can't come back what we have. They can't just come and take it because they can. Mm-hmm. We're not allowing that. We have been awarded opportunities from on the backs of others who have lost for us to have the chance now to build our own tables and build our own communities back and do for each other. We've lost the village mentality of taking care of each other because we're trying to fit in and sit at tables that were not made for us. We've heard this now for the longest. But right now we have the opportunity and the power and the money and the influence to make everyone up their game and do better. There's enough money for everyone out there. There's enough food to eat. It's enough for everyone out here. And I just hope it keeps going.
Yeah.
And if the bank want to give you money, go to a black-owned bank. Go to your friend and go to somebody you know who's wealthy. If you have the money to invest in someone, invest in someone.
Yep.
Like they did it back in the day. I'll invest in you.
Right.
And then here's how you pay it back. Invest in
Right.
someone else.
That part.
Don't give me the money back. Invest in some. If I give you $100,000 because I can, I didn't say I can. I'm just hypothetical. If I can, I don't want that back. I need you to bless someone else, and then bless someone else. You know, it's the pulling up of the person.
Mhm.
We tend to get somewhere and forget because we were taught that way. If you think about what our mindset that's not originally our own, get up and get out. Don't be me. I'm working and bleeding in my hands, so you don't have to be me. So once you get out, don't come back. And that's why we've left so many things behind. And our mentality has been what it is. We've always been a community type of people, but we have been taught now as survival to get up and get out and leave us behind. I will suffer while you progress. And right now we can't leave each other behind any longer. So now it needs to be, how can I help you progress? Like in this podcasting game, Frank can tell you, the network that we have, we're not greedy. We help each other out because it's like, why not? If I figure something out, I'm gonna help him, he's gonna help me. And that's the way it should be. We have to make sure we help each other out. I'm not saying you can't shop other places, but don't put down those businesses when you know they're trying to make it. And also be a good business person. Have good business, have good product, and have good customers. Do what you need to do. What you see someone else doing, do it even better.
Yep.
But we have to pay it forward.
Yeah.
So don't go to Bank of America. Go to somebody else's bank and say, hey, who wants to invest in me? Can I get 10 investors?
Yeah.
And help each other out.
Why don't you hear about more Black businesses merging? You know, having
Because we
merging.
tend to get hold. I think it's not even a black or white thing. It's like we're a society of selfish people now. As a whole, like generations have changed. We're all very selfish now. People back in the day used to help each other out. It didn't matter what you look like. You helped people out. No one helps each other anymore. It's all, dog eat dog world, you on your own. No one. It's not even about the color thing. It's about people. This world we live in, but with COVID and sitting down and everyone losing their job, everyone having to fend for themselves, they're like, how do we help each other? What do I do? Because now the person you look down upon, you can't look down upon them because you're not far from where they are.
Man.
That may be you. I was talking to the young lady today at work. She was talking about this gentleman used to come into our building who is homeless. And he had a sign one day out under the bridge to say, I'm an electrician. I'm certified electrician and welder, just need work. And someone saw his picture and posted it saying, hey, y'all have anything this man to do, help him. You wouldn't have seen that happen years ago. Like, oh man, leave that man alone. But now, because you know for a fact that may have been you not too long ago, let me help that person out. Facts. You know what I mean? So we're a society of selfish people. We don't help each other anymore at all.
Yeah.
But if we get back to how we used to be, keep our mouths shut, no one needs to know how we're moving, and help each other out. Because I help you, I shouldn't tell the world. I helped Brandon. Yeah, I helped him. No, just help.
I was trying to figure out which Brandon you was talking to. You talking to me?
Anyway. I want to say,
Elisha, you know I love you. You know I love you. I don't want no problem.
Whatever, man. Is there anything that you gentlemen want to bring up that we have not talked about tonight?
Frank.
Yo, let me tell you something. I'm just going to tell y'all what I'm saying right now.
Okay.
2020 has been savage for all of us, right? For everybody.
Yes.
I am being savage on these racists. Okay. And these coons.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? I'm being savage on these racists and these coons. I am not playing. I had an incident, tell y'all a real quick funny one, but you had those people on Facebook or whatever, people that you like, yeah, I'll accept you as your friend, but you're really not my friend, whatever. You don't post that often anyway. So I had this one guy, he's Italian, and he posted, like, I think it was the day before Juneteenth or maybe a couple of days before Juneteenth. He was like, What the hell is Juneteenth anyway? So I calmly went under his comments and responded and said, what the fuck is Columbus Day? And just what it just ended it that way. I'm not playing. I'm not playing with this stuff anymore. With people. People do and say things thinking they're funny, and this is not the time for that. Especially as us as Black people. I'm not going for it. If you cooning, I'm gonna tell you cooning. If you out here being racist, I'm gonna tell you racist. And I'm not racist, but I stand for my people. See that there's a difference. And it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's wild. Like first off, Frank, I feel you on that. On their ass.
I'm on them.
I'm on their ass.
Yep.
Okay. To the point where now when I walk into a grocery store, I'm looking you smooth in your face just to let you know I'm seeing you and you see me, and I wish you would come over here with that Karen stuff. I really wish you would. I so wish you would. But you have the platform to do that. You have so many different platforms to use that. Stay on their ass, especially these coons. Okay, they work. They work. Man. I don't understand.
It's bad, brother.
And you still feel like you white in some kind of respective way. Like, who taught you that? Did you?
Bro, it's crazy. It's crazy because you have people that are out there like Candace Owens who speak very articulate.
We don't speak her name.
Oh, I'm sorry. We don't speak her name, but you have people out there that are very, very articulate with their words, and someone that doesn't know or doesn't understand can really seriously take what she's saying as truth. That's where it starts to get dangerous. The other thing is you got people at these rallies dancing and buffoonery, talking about wearing your red hats. I just don't understand. And I hear what you're saying. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I should be able to vote for who I want to vote for. But you know what? When you Black, it's totally different. And when a person tells you that and tells you who they're pandering to, a specific group of people who are racist, you shouldn't want to have anything to do with them. If you look at that person's history prior to that, and you look at the things that this person has said over the years and their actions, you shouldn't want to be even affiliated with them, because what it's going to take is for you to be in a situation to really experience what it is to be Black. So I'm not with all that cooning and dancing. I don't scratch my head unless it itches, and I don't dance unless I hear music. I'm not with all that stuff. There's that period.
I will say this. People, we all have to remember though, and I agree with all of you. We have to remember everyone's frame of reference is different. So just because I'm Black doesn't mean my experiences are the same as yours. My knowledge may not be the same as yours. And what I will say to Black people, we have to stop beating each other up on what we may or may not know. Everyone may not know. Everyone's lessons in their home have not been the same. I have seen more people get attacked behind not knowing something. Like, you act like you knew that. Like you pay attention to school, you listen to, stop it. Don't do that to everyone. Doesn't have the same. My family's Caribbean, Trinidad and St. Lucia. So we weren't talking about Juneteenth in my house until we got here. And I met Black American people. I was born here, but till you talk about certain things, it wasn't that conversation in my household. So my frame of reference is different because the discussion was different. You know what I mean? So we have to remember everyone's expectation is different. And you have to remember too, as Black people, many of us were raised to forget once you become and you succeed and have money or whatever standard that you obtain. Look at Whitley Gilbert, right? Whitley didn't know a lot about herself, and different world. She didn't know because they were rich Black people. So some people were raised to not think about those things. They didn't know, But as you get older and you educate yourself, absolutely, you have to learn. But we can't be beating each other up when we have legitimate people who don't know certain things. That wasn't their life lesson. They didn't have grandma telling them stuff.
let me say this, Elise. I hear what you're saying. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But see, in my opinion, for you, where you were raised and where your parents were from, it's totally different, because that piece of racism, you're surrounded by Black people. What racism? We all in this is a tribe together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could understand and see why. What Juneteenth is every day for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I could see that. But when you have something so, so in your face,
Yeah.
it's really hard for me to believe that you are just stand behind this person simply because of what you think this person
No,
is
I
doing
totally
for
agree
you.
with you. And I'm not, Lord Jesus, I am not condoning her. I'm just, no, that's, Lord, no, I'm not condoning her. What I'm saying is, though, is like Marlon is saying, educate me, but don't chastise me. We have to do better with each other, because we have to do better with each other, because everyone doesn't know everything. There's some things we're now learning. We're a generation of people who you can't put us back in 1940. We ain't surviving. We too mouthy.
Right.
We getting hurt. We're gonna get killed.
Right.
We're different. We can't do what they did. We have to do it differently and better. And also now, if you meet someone who doesn't know, educate your brother and sister.
Educate them.
Help them out. Don't make them feel like they stupid, because then you have people who turn into a Candace Owens who now hates her own people for some god awful reason, when she had NAACP help her with a racial case at a college or a high school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we have to do better as a people. And also, there will be people who do not look like us who have questions. I just hope when they approach us, they ask it with, they've done some research on their own. Like, don't just ask me a question you haven't thought about what you're asking me. Like, you genuinely care and want to know.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I have time for. I have time for people who genuinely care and want to know, like, I really have questions that I didn't know. Okay, we can talk.
Yeah. In the age of ignorance,
right. Don't do that to me. And people who are white people who generally have questions, do some reading, do some research, like we had to, then formulate your question.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Because anyone right now who keeps saying, forget about this, forget about that, so long ago, if you are a white person in this country living off of old money, then you are benefiting from what happened hundreds of years ago. So you have no right to forget anything that happened, because your livelihood and your name is standing on some old history shit. So if that's the case, forget where you came from. Forget about your history, because you're living a life right now off of privilege because of your name and the wealth that you are living. Some people, especially in the South, have old money, old land, old this. So when you have lived a life, the privilege because of your name and old money, old inheritance, then you have no right to say to me to forget what happened, when it probably was my ancestors whose blood and tears built the wealth that you have. If you can live off of it right now, then you can remember how your family earned it. So
Absolutely.
You may have not been there 200, 400 years ago, but your name was.
Yep.
Your kin was. And your kin has helped you get into college or a endowment on your home or that plantation that you family own. You living off of something. I'm not saying everyone, but what I'm saying is if you are living off of some old shit, your old shit got some ugly history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you forget that and put that money back.
That's facts. And one other thing, at least I wanted to say too, is the other thing we got to stop doing, and both of us have responded on a comment from a post that we both saw last night. We have to stop. Yeah, we have to stop, because you don't like, when we're talking about voting and we know an election is coming up, we have to stop because you don't like this person and you don't like this person saying, well, this person's no good. He's no da-da-da-da-da. Do your research before you jump to your conclusions. Now, everybody has a right to vote for whoever they want and have their own opinion. However, when you start talking about the laws, the Biden bill that he talked about, because that's what everybody's basing it on, The problem I have is some of the people that are saying that they don't want to vote for Vice President Biden because of the law from 93, 94. What they don't realize is, during that time, there was a lot of stuff going on. There were the crack era. Crack era is from 84 through the early 2000s, over a decade. People were taking over neighborhoods, gangs were taking over neighborhoods, and guess who was complaining? White people, but guess who else was complaining? Black people. Black people were complaining about it as well. So these so-called, because it's woke to be cool and vote for Bernie and all that, I get it. He has new ideas. The ideas were fresh. But don't say you're not going to vote just because, well, he did this and he caused that. You have to understand. We have to understand. This goes back to research. We have to understand that laws that are put on the books are made for a time that's happening. It's a moment in time. We can't guarantee that this law is going to stay and things are going to stay the same when we made this law. Nobody knew it was going to cause mass incarceration off of that bill. People were complaining, blacks and whites, because their neighborhoods were being taken over by drugs and crack, period. So, these so-called woke youngsters that weren't either around or weren't old enough to remember that era are now all of a sudden reading up on it, and that's what they think it is. They think it's cool to do that. That's not true. And I'm not telling anybody to vote. I'm an independent. I'm not telling anybody how to vote. But what I'm saying is you need to look at what's best for you and what you think that candidate is going to do for you and your family, and then make a choice and a decision.
And at the end of the day, we only got two people. I'm sorry, we only got two people right now. Okay, we only got two. So all that research had been done ahead of time. Y'all had Bernie twice to vote for. He ran once. Y'all ain't taking. Second time, y'all ain't giving enough votes. I love the fact that we're trying to research now and look into things. That's great, but we only have two to pick from. Also, that's not the only election to worry about.
Nope.
You need to
locally
really make a difference in your local elections. Look at your city council members. Look at your governors, your congress people, just people who represent you. Anything. Look at your people who may do your homeowner association. I don't care. Whatever it is to evoke change, it starts at the bottom. You know what I mean? You have to take care of that stuff. And just do some research. Keep yourself informed. And stop posting or reading partial quotes. Just when you read the Bible, read above and below. Don't just take what people are saying as word. Do your own research. That's the problem. Everyone, I don't care what you look like, they like to just take the information from other people. Do some research.
Yep.
Do some research. And also remember, read everything. Not just one thing, read everything.
Yep.
Local elections. School board, all those things. It's not just the president. The president has very little power in your local. Go to your city council meetings.
Yep.
It's public record when they meet. Go to those things. Get put on the agenda to speak.
Yep. And here's the thing: in the Black community, voting and legislation needs to be a conversation at the dinner topic just as much as it is about seasoning our chicken. Okay. Like we can have that conversation all day about how white folks don't season their chicken, but are we talking to our kids about voting and what legislation is?
Absolutely.
Are we teaching them about that type of things? Are we teaching them economics? Do they know how to go to the stock and get shares? Do they know how to even vote and see, go through that whole process? Take them with you to the voting tables. Let them see. Let them stand in that line and get on your nerves talking about, can I go home? No, son. No, daughter. This is what it takes to create some change. You got to stand in this line for 3-4 hours because they expecting you to go home.
You saw what happened. It was Kansas or Kentucky. Or where was that?
I think it was Kentucky where they had to get
polls and people were standing in line outside and they were like, "What are you doing?"
They had to get a judge injunction to open them back up.
And they stood there waiting until that thing came. Nobody left. They stood right there and waited. Locked the doors on those people.
Injunction. Hard to call up a judge in the middle of the day who probably was sitting at home drinking mojitos to get him to file an injunction and sign it and give it back to them people. Kudos to them in Kentucky because that's change. That's change. Yep. But I did want to ask a question that was kind of off topic as far as voting and legislation, but it was it was kind of about how Black people, how we raise, or our mindset, how we raise our children. And I do notice one thing, that when we get to quote unquote 18, our parents is like, you're getting out the house. Okay. You got to get out of here. You got to go do something. Do you think that's the right way to do it? Or should we invite them back after they either go to college or what have you, stack their money up so they can then actually afford to go get a house before we allow them to acquire debt? Because it doesn't make sense to give the kids that much freedom at 17, or just a month ago, they were raising their hands to go use the restroom. Now we expect them to go to college and be quote unquote grown.
Well, I'll let Frank speak on this. That was not my reality. We were never told we had to go. It may have been military construction. What you doing, military construction? You know what I mean? Because that's my blue collar family. But I think it's a cultural thing. I think what happened is when you starve the Black community to where they can't handle to feed too many mouths, you got to get that mouth out the house. And if you're a man, you need to get out the house and fend for yourself. You weren't telling young women to get out the house. It's always the young boys, because usually there was one person working and it's another mouth to feed. And what's sad is that was embedded in us because, that's not how we naturally were. That wasn't who we were naturally, to put people out. We were work together. One hand ain't clapping. You working, I'm working. We washing, we taking care of each other. But when you strip us of our dignity and our rights and our way of surviving, if there's too many mouths to feed, either you come into work with me, you're gonna lose school, you're leaving school and you come into work. So you're losing education or you're getting out. So the young girls had to stop going to school to help the mom go clean and do work. The young boys only may get to 6th grade. You got to go to work, and then you're frustrated and you leave. Less mouths to feed. We didn't have anything we owned to say we're going to give you wealth when you get older. We wouldn't allow that knowledge for a very long time. So what we would do is sacrifice ourselves, let the kids get education, and go. You're going to do better than me. You're going to do better than me. You're going to do better than me. So, of course, I think we need to keep the kids as home as possible, but also don't hide them and shelter them from what's going on. You know what I mean? We shelter these children. I know more folks that don't tell their kids the struggle they went through as growing up. Why your child don't know you struggle? This shit ain't free. Yeah. They need to know that life is real and this what's going on, and you can stay here as long as you are, but what you gonna do with yourself? You need to stay here with stipulations of educating yourself, building some type of wealth of education, and then you go on your own.
Mm-hmm. I got a follow-up question. Mm-hmm. So if we invite them back, like Brother Rudolph over there said, invite them back with some boundaries. If we invite them back with boundaries, do you think that'll definitely help how we better position our children when it comes to debt?
Frank, you want to answer that question first?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think so. I'm gonna give you an example of that. Stevie told this story on our episode a couple of weeks ago, where he's out he arrives at a house to do a job. The woman comes out and tells him, "Well, this is not my house. This is my son's house. I bought the house for him, but this is his house." And Stevie was like, "Yo, this is a grown ass man. This man is he's like, Frank, this man is in his late 30s. But this little old white woman is telling me that she just bought her son a house and he's married with kids. So if they can do it, we can do it too. I think that if your child is in school, they can, as long as they're in school, in college or whatever, they can stack up their money to avoid that debt, getting into debt, but with boundaries, right? To what the young man was saying, with some boundaries, understand that while you're here, I'm also going to give you some responsibilities, because if I shelter you, I've already done that. It raised you as a kid, probably given you more than what you really need anyway. But now you are becoming a young adult. I need to make sure that you understand some form of responsibility. So here's what we're going to do. If you have a part-time job, I want you to put this amount aside for one bill in the house or a quarter of a bill in the house, whatever. something to get them to show responsibility and to understand that this is how it is when you get out, and then eventually once you get a job and you're able to make enough money, they'll eventually start looking to get out on their own, whether it's an apartment or a house, whatever they want to do. But I think that more of us can do that because other races do it all the time.
Yep.
All of the time.
Yep.
So I think the problem is, to Elise's point too, though, is there's that old stigma. Well, I had to go out and do it. You gonna do it too.
Right.
I had to go out there and struggle. You gonna do it too. That's not always the case. Less debt, allow them to learn some type of responsibility, and then teach them about life, teach them about the real world while we're here. So like, hey, listen, when you're paying this bill, put aside 6 months worth of bills, just in case something happens in your savings. You know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that goes a long ways because it's embedded in that child or in that young person, and they'll take it out into the real world more prepared.
Yep. Yeah. That's kind of some things I do with my son. Again, even though he's 6, he's a swole 6-year-old because he got to do his push-ups. I don't really believe in the slavery type beating. There is a chokeable offense though. Don't get it twisted. There's some things where come on, brother, you're not gonna do that around here, boy. You're gonna pay a bill. But the responsibility of, Daddy, I want this toy. Okay, well, Daddy wants $1 million. What did you do to work for the toy? Did you do some work? Did you clean something? Boy, I'm not gonna eat no peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Did you cook? You ain't cook nothing?
My son is young. You wrong for that. Don't do him that way.
What you mean? Hold on. I teach him how to cook.
You wrong for that. But let me ask you. Let me read this comment here, and then let me get your viewpoints on it. So someone commented and said he had the discussion with his son last night. He graduated high school 2 weeks ago. Had him lined up for a summer job. He missed the orientation. Nah, this is not a sponsorship program. What I will say to that is this: I'm not a parent, by no means. Don't listen. Don't come for me. But I will say this. I think what I've observed is a lot of times we're expecting this type of go get it because I'm set it up for you, and we haven't taught them the struggle and the know-how beforehand. Like you just can't hand them a job. You have to make them go look for that job. Have you always made them go look for a job? He may not have those tools in his toolbox to do that. I've noticed more parents tend to have sheltered or they cater and they are doing a disadvantage for their children. They don't know. Like I've always known from young how to go and look and do and get something. I was given what I needed and wanted in life, but I also knew I had to earn it. Like I would have never had a job set up for me and missed the orientation and my mom set up for me. It would have been like, what? But there's no consequences. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of times we miss the mark on teaching them early. Like you said, what have you done to earn it? I'm not rewarding. I'm the auntie. I don't reward bad grades. I don't buy you gifts just because your birthday. You earned it. I love you. What's your grades looking like? You been respectful? Not just because you just can't hand me a list and think I'm about to just ask some money. You know what I mean? So I just want to know, based on his comment, and I'm not attacking you, Patrick, but I think it's a good comment. Do you feel that a lot of times parents have missed the mark or arming their kids with certain tools to have that type of mentality?
Frank, you want this one first?
Yeah, I'll tackle it. So there's a couple of things to look at, right? Is he a responsible kid, right? I'm pretty sure he knew about the orientation beforehand. And even so, in him missing the orientation, there's still a lesson to be learned. The lesson is if you sleep on things, things will pass you by. And it's the same way in life, right? You don't know what you can miss out on, because you're not paying attention, you're not woke. So I think that, again, tools, making sure, reminding him, hey, you got that orientation tomorrow. Are you prepared? Do you have some people sleep deep, deep sleepers. Hey, did you set your alarm clock? Make sure that you're fresh and ready to go for tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Are you prepared? Now, if he wasn't told those things, or if he knew all of those things and he just didn't do it, because we know that's how teenagers are in some instances, in some cases, then that's a whole nother story. So here's what I need from you. While I'm at work, you need to show me online or in person, at least you can take it on your phone, at least 2 to 3 applications that you have put in this week. You need to show me that you're trying to do something and not just laying around here because you can't make up your mind on what you want to do. I gave you an opportunity. You missed it. So now I'm going to force you to see what it's really like. Because there are people out here that don't have jobs, that have lost their jobs, and they're online, or they're out here trying to get a job at some of these restaurants that can't get one. I had one set up for you, and you missed it. So that's the way that I would go about handling that situation.
So the good thing, he got the job though. So he was letting me know he went ahead and interviewed and got the job. So I'm happy for him, Patrick. He got the job.
Good.
I think that's a fine line though, as well, because it's not about what you know sometimes. It's literally about who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like Mr. Jones said, hey, I just got him ahead of the line. You know, again, there's been plenty of times where we're older, we've had jobs, and somebody got us in.
Yeah.
You know, now what we did when we got in the job, it's on us, but somebody got us in. So it's a fine line, because sometimes you want them to learn that lesson, but then you kind of got to look at the bigger picture of it as far as like, okay, I'm gonna get you in here, but when I get you in here, I need to see exactly the energy that you were trying to use on your application, filling out themselves. I need that same energy when you get in here, because now my name is on the line. Because that's
don't embarrass me.
Don't you embarrass me. I better not see your name on no boards on the negative side. It better be green. But it's definitely a fine line in doing that. I think Black people need to do that more often for their children, in my opinion, in the sense of, yes, let's try to, like you said, Frank, show me that you're working. Okay. Mm-hmm. Show me that you're trying. But then if I see that you're really trying and that you want it, Daddy can make this phone call real quick and kind of get you in. And I think we need to do that for not only our kids, but for friends, children, but you have to be careful, because not all the kids want to work, and they, name is on the line, and it may end up bad for you. But, we have to put more of our people in positions of the who more so of the what because we can dominate anything. We've been given the raw of the stick for how long? Thousands of years, and we still out here doing them like this. I mean, we out here literally on a struggle, still fly, still doing what we do, still setting trends, still making changes, and on the raw end of the stick. Mm-hmm. So imagine if we give somebody an opportunity.
And I think it goes back into this entrepreneur and the surge right now in Black ownership, and recognizing so many Black businesses, like Danielle is saying, we have to create now those companies, create those jobs, create those social strongholds that we have, that we get back to that type of, we're helping each other, not just your immediate, we're helping each other as an overall thing. And you're not going to embarrass me. Like, you're going to learn, you're going to have those standards, you're going to work hard for your stuff. It's not going to be handed to you, because as you can clearly see, no one wants to hand us anything. You're going to earn this. You're going to earn this. I will say, I'm going to end our conversation, and I want to say thank y'all so much for coming on. It's been fun. It's been good. I really enjoyed this. Frank, please tell everyone where we can find you, the name of your show, what you got going on next.
Absolutely. So the name of the podcast is the 336 Pull-Up Podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Frank_Styles. Styles is spelled STYLZ. You can also follow us on the 336 Pull-Up on Instagram, and also the 336pullup.com. New episode will be dropping again for this Monday. We took a little time out, as we do, so we don't get burned out, but we'll be back with another episode for this week. And, looking for guests to come on to the show for July. So, nice. Here's what.
Mr. Scott.
My Instagram is square3576. My chef page is also Kitchen Under Siege, as you see it right there. always looking to help anybody out as far as any cooking tips, any recipes, any kids that if you have kids that you want to go live with and teach them how to do some of the basics, let me know. I love showing the children. I love the kids to show them that culinary is not always frying, going in the back and just frying up fish. You actually can do some things. And again, there's always going to be folk who want to eat, and why not you be the one to provide that for them?
Absolutely. I want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. I know it was a longer show, but I wanted to go live. Have not done the live in a very, very long time. And this is just a segment of Shall You Proceed? Uncomfortable Conversations. I think it went well. We had a few uncomfortable moments, but I think it was all love in the room. All much love in the room.
Uncomfortable.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. I'll do another one.
When did it get uncomfortable? When we talked about your trash ass Texans? Oh, my bad. Hello?
Your mic is muted. See, I can't. I just. Anyway, until next time, probably in the next 2 weeks, I'll bring you another uncomfortable conversation. Maybe relationship. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, bye.